Greetings to all of you. And let me say that I welcome you to this broadcast. If you don't mind, as you join, please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly or see me clearly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. To those of you who are since, I bid you shalom. Please let me know whether you hear me clearly or see me clearly. I'm not in studio. E-Networks is doing a number on me for some other reason. There's yet another day of complete internet blackout, shut down in my area. So, and of course, the mobile data network platforms are just trash, which is why I'm here. So I welcome you all to this broadcast, and let's do it. Elections 2025, 2030, according to Gregor's calendar. Welcome to all of you. I am not having my monitor beside me, so I cannot see. But tonight I chose to have what they call the dress down night. When I don't know what you call casual wear, but this is casual if you say so. So I'm dressed to talk to you as an ordinary, whatever that means, Guyanese. I'm not as one who you want to perceive as being some lofty person in society. And now in this election period, I'm trying my best to um, look like my brothers and sisters, look like the electorate, look like so many, or I should say, the other aspect or another part or component of the electorate, the ordinary man who becomes so important to politicians only at this time of year. And we are critically analyzing certain behaviors, because in those analyses we get to understand how persons who want to lead you think. There are those who would have served you. Well, I asked you to respond, but I can't see your comments anymore. Let me try to see if I can get it done. I can't. Okay. There are those who would have served you, been in service to you. There are those who have stood for you, those who represented you at all cost, even to their own peril. And this conversation tonight is even further bolstered by the fact that a young man, Javon, I saw him share a memory from 2020, I think somewhere way back, when I was standing, I have to mean, but after 2020, 2023 or so, or 22, when a young woman was accused, a lawyer, an attorney, of spitting on her and calling her a black monkey. I think his name is Nirvan Singh. And I went to the office, not the home, the office of the Director of Public Prosecution. That office is not a private office. It's a state building. It's a state office. There are other persons, but this Ali Haq lady would have been the leader because she's the director. She, when she found that they were going there to protest, called the police, I would like to think, but Rabbit Walk, a public thoroughfare, by the way, according to law, it's a public road. The police barricaded that road and said that nobody must go in front of our building to stand in demonstration or to register our issues, with Ali Haq saying that in her view, not according to law, not according to evidence, not according to the police report, in her view, Nirvan Singh did not intend to incite any ethnic hostility. That's it. So the young lady must not be heard in court. Her master must not be heard in court because according to Ali Haq, this attorney, who the lady said spat on her, called her a black monkey, didn't deserve to stand before the court and hear this lawyer defend himself. But the same Ali Haq, I'd like to think, saw it fitting for Baby Skelet to go to before magistrate for offending some god whose name he didn't mention accurately. I don't know if it's because he said he wasn't speaking of any god. A young African Guyanese woman said that she was hurt, reported to the police that she was injured by a statement by this man. He said she's a black monkey, spat on her and other things. And the director of public prosecution said that in her view, the young man didn't intend to incite any hostility, so let her go. And that's a person who said she was offended by another individual. But in this case, when people say that a god was offended, some deity who they've never seen, Skello should go to be remanded to prison. When Nurse King spoke in the privacy of a car or whatever vehicle it was to somebody about her view of her being in the room in the area when Adriana's autopsy was being done, that's a private conversation. Ali Haq said that in her view, this young lady should stand for inciting terrorism. That same moment, I have said to you, and I'm going to GECOM's commissions in a minute, but I've said to you that this lady is a threat to our judicial system. There should be no individual in this nation who has that much autonomy, that much power to determine the freedom or the lack of it, or the loss of it, of any individual, not any one person, because she is apparently swayed by so many things that are beyond human reasoning. This individual saw or sees, if she advises sought, that if you burn a tire on the road and you get mad, you call a terrorist. That's her interpretation of our laws. I have said to Granger, I have said to Barrett, I don't speak to Ali in reference to these matters because he can't make any decision. That this is a problem. Now, what was necessary for the opposition members to do? To seek to have judicial reform or constitutional reform, I should say, which would include this thing called Direct of Public Prosecution. Remove it. It's a threat to our well-being. Election 2025, 2030. Tonight, and what follows after would be entirely up to Aubrey Norton and the commissioners of GECOM, the opposition commissioners. So the opposition commissioners do not represent, as far as I see it, all parties in the opposition. This is another reason why we have to have reformation at GECOM. GECOM is the enemy of elections in this country. Take it from me. The constitution of GECOM is an adversary of elections. Would you believe that they've constricted, shortened, narrowed the day, the time frame for claims and objections? And not just that, they have disenfranchised possibly thousands of Guyanese, maybe hundreds of thousands of young people who should be on the list. But they have not put the necessary provisions in place for those persons to access centers for there to be claims made. So instead of GECOM sending personnel around the place and others to say, listen, we have to get to the most remote part of our country to ensure that every Guyanese has the right to vote. No, remember the list is already maybe by 800,000 by now, if maybe 700 plus thousand. They don't have an interest in knowing who should really be on that list. How many dead people are still on that list? Have they reported to us that they sought to do anything to fix it? 5 years have passed since the OAS, all the Guardians of Democracy, Carter Center, the US and other places said the main country is this list. The main issue is this list, this thing called the official list of electors. Voters. You think Carter cares about that? You think Anil and Barrett and all them care about that? I am saying to you that the PPP and those agents in GECOM, not the opposition commissioners, they need a bloated list. Now we have Venezuelans on here who Barrett told that the PPP, we're not your enemy, we don't have a problem with y'all. It's APNU, it's them. Listen to what this man did, which to me is treasonous. If you want to talk about inciting treason. A young man said, I should say rather, because I didn't hear Barrett say that, but yeah, the young man said that he was told by Bar Jagbir that it's the PNC who hate y'all. We don't have a problem with you. Then Robert Prasad, who works in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as some foreign secretary, did what the guy, what's his name? Carl Greenwich. His post, they maintained it, though they objected when Greta had it. The PP kept it and paying a whole lot of money to that person. But they said, Robert has said there's possibly over 100,000, just about 100,000 persons here who either of Venezuelan descent or ancestry or whatever connections in some way, or they're just here. They don't have a number. Robeson ain't going to give us an exact figure because he doesn't know. These people have got national ID cards. And for as long as you possess a national ID card, you have the right to vote in the general and regional elections. There are at least, according to Robert Prasad, 100,000 individuals in this country. And among them, there may be 80,000, let's say. Let's just say 20,000 are children. Or even if you say 40,000 are children, there are at least 60,000 who can vote in our elections if they have ID cards. There are reports of some ID cards gone missing in Region 7. We're trying to verify that. And so in our body of law lies a group called the Guyana Elections Commission. This group, at its helm, has got 7 commissioners, 3 from the PPP, 3 from PNC, I should say, and 1 chairman who is also considered a commissioner. Now, according to law, and please share this broadcast because this should be as far spread as possible, especially to Aubrey Norton and Granger. According to law of this country, according to statute of this country, what's written in reference to GECOM's statute, they have to function in that manner. Since Claudette Singh and the commissioners from the PPP do not understand, apparently, that they are supposed to be serving the interests of all Ghanaians, which they would not do anyway. Because if you have 3 PPP commissioners, I don't think they serve the interests of opposition commissioners. So GECOM in itself, by its construct, is a problem. So when you have got new, they're not small parties. When you have new parties that are involved or new movements involved in the elections, you already have a crisis. Because the 3 from the PPP and the 3 from PNC would speak for whom? For me? So they can say, well, we have a problem because they're seeking to disenfranchise small parties. Why are they doing that? The GECOM, the opposition side, is because they understand that there should be an appeal or an appearance that you're seeking to injure those who are now coming up. So let's see if we can speak for you. But I want to share with you all, because I like to bring to you what is irrefutable. And I dare Claudette Singh, I dare Sais Gunraj, I dare Rohi. I don't know what he does as a commissioner. I don't know how Rohi qualifies to be a commissioner, but that's another story. And I don't know who the other one is. Can't remember. So DB there. DB's dead, has died. The other one. I dare you, along with Anil, your advisor, apparently, so it seems, because you carry on with business. I dare any one of you to refute what I'm saying here right now. Because I want to show Guyanese where Aubrey Norton, or the opposition commissioners, I should say, could act in a manner that deals with Barrett in a way that you wouldn't want to deal with, one would not want to be dealt with. Because this would involve the international community and others saying Guyana has a major problem. And I'll show you how we'll solve it in a minute. So I've said they failed to With all this money GECOM has now, they have failed to ensure that during this very brief claims and objection period, that they have provided the means for Guyanese to have access to centers or be accessed by GECOM to say, we want to ensure that you are on the list to vote. They haven't done that. The law does not prohibit prisoners from voting if you're on remand and so on. GECOM said they know that, but they've not made provision for this to happen. Again, before our eyes, they are disenfranchising Guyanese, or even further to that. These people have made it so ridiculously impossible for new parties to really have the means to advertise and campaign the way they should, by saying that it takes them 20 days to do what I showed you could be done in 3 minutes. And with AI, artificial intelligence, which should be used by them, they can scan all names and all symbols in this country within 10 seconds, 20 seconds, give them 20 minutes, 20 hours if you want. You would have us have to wait here for 20 days to know if a symbol is accepted. And then when you reject it, we are unable to have flags and banners. I spoke to that already, paraphernalia, printed. But the PPP has their flag. The PNC has their flag, or APNA has their flag. The PPP have their banners. The PPP have their hats and caps and paraphernalia. They have all of that because it's there. They could use it all the time. But any new movement, any new party would have to wait for GECOM. You are dishonest and you're discriminatory. What is most important to me is the response of the opposition, and then the courage to say that we deserve to be in governance because we love Guyana so much. I know some of y'all get mad at me tonight, but get mad all you want. I deal with the truth only. I would not come here before y'all on any occasion to say what is wrong is right just so that you can vote for anybody. And not me. I prefer to go and do my construction business, preach the gospel of Messiah Yeshua, which I wouldn't stop doing, and enjoy my family. All of my children, all of my, no. You're not going to get me to fall into your category of lying to people, deceiving people in the name of removing the PPP. I'm not doing that. I have taken note of your conduct, many of you, and that's why I came to speak to you as an ordinary man tonight, because I'm going to address all of you. Get mad if all you want. I do my work and I'm fine. But when you want to be dishonest towards people, I will get upset with you. Do not come to present to me an argument that states that any person should be considered to be so right for leading Guyana when they did so many wrongs to Guyana for all these years. I am not going to do that. Because if anything, the first thing that the opposition needs to do is apologize to Guyanese for what you did to us. You sat there. Let me begin to list it. You sat in 2020. You watched a finale who is not a legitimate president of this country, in my view, because if his party refused for us to see the rigging of Granger, you are worse than he is. Why did anyone from the PPP sign, put their card, their signature to what they called the statements of recount, which included all of the abnormalities, atrocities, rigging, evidence? This is not when they open the ballot boxes and they check them. The statements of recount, those garbage, if you ask me, the whole process was nonsense. They should not have gone there without an election petition. But that's Granger. That's another story. But you tell me, why did whoever signed for the PPP, why did you not have us in the court? See in the court what you signed to. You signed, you had to sign according to your agreement on every statement of recount. Not statements of poll, statement of recount. when you sign, you from the people who signed that, let us see what you signed to. You didn't want that to go to court. You didn't want that to get to the court because you knew that we will see your signature saying that you have signed to having seen what we know you saw. So what is the propaganda and the weak-minded people, or the propaganda spin and the weak-minded people's pill? The people say, Grindr, show us his SOP, show us the SOP. No, tell him, show us who signed for the statement of account. Because the SOP would have been overridden by the statements of recount. So once you want to say that you go to statement of account, forget SOP. Tell us who signed this and tell us what they signed to, because we know what they signed to. 49 ballot boxes without statutory documents. Statutory means it has to be there. For example, if you leave Ghana, your passport is a statutory document. But for the slow ones who like to hide in the bushes and then come out like eating grass, let me speak to you. Your passport, in reference to leaving this country, is a statutory document. You cannot leave Guyana to go to the USA or Barbados or Trinidad without it. So if your passport is a statutory document, whatever is put in a ballot box is also that important for the ballot box to be considered valid, credible, acceptable. That's what statutory means. It has to be there. So you don't go to the airport and say, I forgot my passport home. Somebody stole my passport and the dog bit it. So let me fly and go to the USA. Would you get to go on the plane? Just tell me, please. Would you be allowed to leave this country? Fly to Barbados, Canada, the UK? Huh? The commissioners in this body, called the Guyana Elections Commission, are so empowered. Now let's talk to elections, because Ali started before them. Let me go back. Ali started with the nonsense. Then, in the midst of the COVID, I call it Fauci's talk, Fauci's business. If and Ali said that we who do not take this thing in our body, we are worse than the virus itself. And his son didn't have it. So I think his son is worse than the virus. If you ask me, that's what he said. And I told him that. This is not, I've said this before. If you say that if I don't have it, I'm worse than the virus, your son didn't have it. So what is he? Then we were told about you're not going to allow to work. You weren't allowed to earn a living, which contravened or was against the law of Guyana. The PPP broke laws almost every day. It became so normal for them to break laws. Some people think it was a law for them, what they're doing. It was lawful. I'm saying all of that to tell you that at that time there was an opposition who, when I had enough of it, I went to the street. I didn't ask anybody to go with me. I went on the road by the Mackenzie Market and I stood. However, others were there. And I stood and said publicly that I am not going to allow Frank Anthony or anybody to tell me what I put in my body. Not one of y'all. I don't care what you say or what you do. You cannot tell me to take anything into this because it violates my human rights. That's where it started. That led to my being on the road for over 1 month. Many months, not 1 month, not 2 months, many months. And do you know what? Let those tell you now that you should vote for them. Let them tell you how many of them came out to stand with you over those months when you were told that you couldn't go to the bank to get your own money if you don't find $25,000 for a PCR test at Sheriff Hospital. They began to tell you where to go for this test. Private places. They didn't say the Georgia Hospital has it, Mackenzie Hospital has it, or wherever you can go to some with our money, buy these tests. No, they said you paid $25,000, even if you're old. You pay that, even if you're a pensioner. Pay your pension to go for this money, to get something stuck up in your nostril, which doesn't verify you have, whether you have it or not. But do it. just to get access to your money, just to get access to certain supermarkets, just to have access to buy certain things that you need, just to be able to have a passport. Whatever it is, you do what we say. And then if you don't do it, it came down to you will be fired from your job if you don't have this shot. And I saw young men and women be terminated from their job. I saw people with a family be terminated. I saw people have to make a choice between life, death, and among life, death, and a job. I saw individuals, and you know some of them, who fell dead. And they still, because I told you that Pfizer, I'm going somewhere with this, said that when they began to examine the early side effects, it proved that there would have been an effect on the hearts of young men. They saw that it was affecting their heart. What do you think they care? So now you see, and they forced sports players, especially, they had to take it. So when you see sportsmen falling on the field dying, don't ask why. When you see people in Ghana just riding a bicycle falling dead, don't ask why, because I'm telling you, many of them had to take it because that became an elitist posture. Oh, I have my shot. I have a card, I can go where I want, and many of them bought it anyway. But anyway, it was said, I have it. I'm more important than you are. I have more access than you. I saw political figures in this country refuse to represent people. And I was calling on you all for months. For almost 2 years, I said, how could you? How could you? 2 years. How could you watch people lose their jobs and not even come and stand for them? I watched them say, if you make me the leader of this opposition, then I'll stand. And when you become that, you don't stand anywhere. I watched that. And I'm what you're saying to me now. That all of that, that's why I said the coalition of forgetfulness. Forget that. Forget how we treated you over those 2 years. Forget that you were told that you have to do this. Forget that pensioners with pre-existing conditions on their way out were told you have to get this or you're not coming in this hospital. Let's not forget what they went through. You're not getting a pension if you don't take what we tell you. I don't forget. You could forget, but I don't forget. Let's not forget that private entities were firing people. Public entities were saying you're not coming in here. You can't get your license. You can't get anything. We lock you out. I don't forget these things. NIS, you can't come in here. And now you're saying to me, now you're telling me that we should forget those 2 years. We should forget those 2 years because now you are going to ensure that we treated better. When you stood by those who were treating us wrongfully, I said, why can't you stand in the road? At least stand in the road with us. At least show us that you care. You didn't do that. But now, those who are saying, this is your best option. This is what you need to vote for. This is who you need to work with. I'm not done with you all yet. Because the worst began to become worst. The bad escalated. The PPP told our soldiers that if you don't take this in your body, those you want to study, get out. I know them. They withdrew them from school. Stop spending money for them to go to school. They told them if you don't take this in your body, you eat last. Those who have it, eat first. You sit at the back. When they finish, you come and eat. They treated them like low class. And now you say to them, you love Guyana, go to the border. And soldiers must support you all. But I want to say to you that with our money, they concocted a plan. They said, and they're saying to people, get a contract. Policemen come, put your fence in others. So in order to remedy the wrong, they take taxpayers' money and give it to you to say, listen, go ahead and build some roads, build some drains, do whatever it is. Just take money, just take some money, take it. You don't have to be qualified, you don't have to do anything but building anything, just build it. If it fall apart, too bad. Just build something And Guyanese began to say, at least they do something for us. You began to willingly, some of you get the money, say, no, 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 they're not bad because at least you're getting something from them. Like a battered woman, battered, whose mind became so weak that she says, at least he feeds the family, even though he kicks me down the stairs. That's the nature. That's what Guyana is now. At least when they treat me badly, they give me something in return. When they shout at me, call me all kind of derogatory names, I don't mind. When they have their critic and they like saying black people can't read, if you want to hide something, they put it in the book. At least the pastors to piss him in my mouth. All those things, but I didn't condemn it. They didn't condemn this boy and put him in jail like Skello, who talk about some goddess. Then he said that African women, the pastor have to pee in their mouths. He didn't go to jail. But because the contracts are coming to you, you say, listen, come on, let's take this money because after all, they're feeding us. And then the talk became, we got to eat the food. We got to eat the bread. When they neglected farmers, when farmers were suffering, when rice millers became gods in this country and farmers had to go and bow almost to them. Please buy my paddy. Please take this from me. And the PPP watched rice millers dominate this industry to the point where farmers became almost slaves. You work for all these months. When you go with your produce, with your paddy, they choose if they want to take it. They tell you how much they give you for it. And if you don't take what they tell you, too bad, let your paddy spoil. They watched you suffer. And now they want to tell you, hey, vote for us because we do better by you this time, every 5 years. But we are in an age where independent thinkers are arising. You see these devices, phones and tablets and computers? Oh, yes. And laptops and so on, because these are all the computers, by the way. These devices have changed the game because now you can sit in your home or lay in the street or in your car and you're watching me. And you're saying, this man is making sense or he's stupid. With everyone is saying, we don't care, but the point is still watching them. Ah, right. So you're here saying, as an independent thinker, why must I take the time to go to vote for someone who never stood for me? Just ask that question. Answer that question. And that includes many who come to say to you, listen, vote for me. I'm a good person. I'll change Guyana. Why did you not stand with us when we were suffering? I don't care who you are. And in all of this, I tell you how much I love my country. That I'm prepared once you are prepared to function in the interest of the people by being honest to the people, we could talk. So don't tell me anything about one person is wrong, but another person don't have to apologize for the years of abandoning us. No. Abandonment, to me, when you pay to represent the person, is worse than if I do some illegal act somewhere. In terms of some financial thing, I should say, like Muhammad, because he's the prime example we're talking about now. If you were paid for 5 years to represent a constituency, over 200,000 people, and you fail to represent them, don't tell me with this one person who smuggled gold or whatever it is. Talk about what you failed to do, what you were paid to do it. Let's have this balance in reference to our conversation. Because this seems to be a coalition of forgetfulness. Let us just forget everything in our country and just roll on. Because all of us are now innocent. You have a record of this creature standing consistent, standing all over this country. You have a record of my driving from Linden, not with any taxpayers' money, not with some party money, not with some member of parliament salary, my money, from Linden all the way to Quarantine, way up Crabble Creek area. And I showed you all, as I was coming back down, I said, look at this. In front of every school, there's a police officer directing traffic. But in Linden, to hell with you. You're not that important. I showed you that there's sidewalks built in certain communities, but our children walk in the middle of the road, a truck knock you down. I showed you the difference. And I showed you that this is discriminatory. I showed you. Because in my view, it was not about being elected. It was a fact that I saw that Guyanese across this nation were being treated as though you're less than in many cases. I showed you. Where when atrocity upon atrocity was committed against us, paid politicians did nothing. I showed you where they undermined us standing in the street to represent their constituents. They refused to come and even say a word to us. And now you're saying that if you put your vote somewhere else, you are bad. Or we go somewhere, there's no rush. Don't be too happy too quick, because this is there's a googly coming, there's a curveball coming here. So hold on. I witnessed individuals, just because they want to lead the PNC, they decided the best thing to do is to destroy each other's character, tear you down, rip you in public, say the worst things about you, even say that you try to rape somebody, and then there's no investigation, no police was called. But now you're saying we are the cleanest of all. I witnessed, or I would have told you for years, that David Grinches in 2020 and onward is a problem. I told you that. If this man has the list, imagine somebody telling you this for 4 or 5 years. If this person says he's done with politics, he's back in the way he wants to just enjoy his life, and he has a list of all the candidates that were submitted to GECOM in 2020, and he has the power to remove some from parliament and put whoever he wants there. But he says, I don't want to deal with politics. And he has in that place rogues who are not respectful of the official leader of the opposition. So the Constitution empowered Norton, but Granger's behavior disempowered him. And I was the bad person for saying that. When I have no interest in PNC, I said to you for years, I have an interest in good governance. If I am getting older, I have younger children, I want to ensure that their life is comfortable. The nation's children must be at ease, because good governance helps all of us. I told you this. I told you all that Barra Jagdio controls who goes to parliament. Can you imagine you have a president in a finale paid to be one, but he cannot tell, and he'll come out to the House Assembly, get out. He cannot tell. You thought you're wasting my time, you didn't have brains to speak properly, intelligence to speak properly to international matters, get out. He can do that, because Jagdio controls who's there. So when Dharmlal was accused of what he was accused, Irfan couldn't take Dharmlal out of the House Assembly. Bharat had to do that. And Bharat then choose who must go there. So this is the first time in our history, Guyanese, where you have two parties who are called major and main, and none of the leaders had power to say who goes to the House Assembly. That's what we were dealing with here. My question to all of you is, where were your candidates when you needed them? That's a legitimate question, because I kept asking that for years. Where were these people? Even when this girl reported to the police that she was raped, she was buggered by a member of parliament. You had to be pleading with members of parliament to come out and stand stand for this girl. You have to be almost wringing their hands and saying, how could you all do this? When Madhya fire came, 20 of our children were burnt to death. I call it murder, because they were told that building is dangerous. You had to be begging people in parliament to come and stand and demand that Madhya, these children's family, have just recompense. And in the NC, all worth $5 million per child, no more. And people are saying that the PPP is better than the PNC. The PPP, we want you all. We want you. Come on, you're good. You all are better than Hazardin Mohammed. Come here, we need you, because you watch your children burn and say, take $5 million for your child, man. Hush, go in the corner. We observe. We paid close attention to the fact that because they were, in my view, and I told you this, members of parliament who are receiving contracts through shell companies, through their cousins and their brothers and sisters and whatever else it is, they were receiving contracts in the PPP. So now in this year, I told you all that they'll have to come out and support Barrett because Barrett told us since 2020 that he has a list, he has a folder with whom he give lands to, who he give contracts, who he give favors to. So anytime you want to come after me, he said, I got your name here. Remember that? He still has it because he keeps a record of who he gives favors to in order to control you. So those in PNC have to come out and pledge loyalty to Barr because he has record of you that you took contract to your brother, to your cousin, or to your sister. So don't talk to me. You got it steady so you can build big house. So come here, come now. And then for local government, he told them plainly, I guess, you're not hiding anymore. Walk the streets and pledge your loyalty to me. And you saw them having to come out one by one and they read. Yes, we had. And I saw, some of you missed that. If Nalis went to the UN when he couldn't pronounce the word reparative, he went to a press conference in New York. And Irfan sat before people and said that there has never been one extrajudicial killing under the PPP. Imagine that creature said that when a police went to prison for shooting Yancy Douglas. At least one. Shaka Blair, two. Ali said on a camera before the media, the press, whatever, but there are no legitimate press, but that's what he said, that there has never been one extrajudicial killing. That man is a compulsive, pathological liar. He is pathologically mendacious. He is irreparably mendacious. He can't stop lying because he's trained apparently in the PP's politics to think that lying is the best way. Because when you have people who support you and they refuse to think for themselves, which is what you call one who is dependent in reference to the ideology and the thinking, then at the end of the day, they tell you anything you accept what they've said. Or in Boston, Ali said there has never been one, not even one case of extra, meaning that the person was killed in an unlawful manner. So the police shot the person, or whatever they did to the person died without there being a legal reason for doing so. He said that has never happened under our watch. You witnessed when teachers went out to protest. I went with them and I made it clear as to why. Because if my son, who was 7 at the time, said, Daddy, why can't they pay Miss what she needs to be happy and comfortable? If a 7-year-old boy could ask a question because he observes, and he would have heard things on social media, he sees when I'm live and so on. If he could have an interest in his teacher being comfortable, why must I as a father stay home and not go out to show my son I supported teachers? I remember when Barrett told the opposition, you're making this political, they left the teachers on the road because Barrett told them it's political. I don't forget. I remember pleading with people, y'all please come out and stand with the teachers. Did you see a lot of them come? No. But now everyone is qualified to say who should and who should not support whom. What qualifies you to talk to me? When someone could have taken funds that should have been given to the poor person to start some business when you're a member of parliament, I have a problem with that. It's called greed and using your position for an advantage over another person. And now you're saying to me that these things should just be forgotten. So nobody should apologize for the wrong they did. Just walk on Guyanese and say, listen, you know what? Accept what we did because we're the best person for you to vote for. There's no accountability anymore. But you're saying that one man should give account for his ways, while 31 shouldn't. And you're saying to me, at this stage, that we should just drop it, hold nobody accountable. And not just that, but deem it to be the most worthy person or individuals to lead us. Because you do wrong to us, you're in parliament, so you're qualified to lead us, regardless of your performance. Since we don't have sense. When I watched in Mocha Arcadia, and I walked into Mocha Arcadia, stood and showed you on a video, showed you live, that Irfan and others said that these people here are preventing or impeding on or in the path of the highway, which was it called Heroes Highway. I said, look how far they are. Look at where the machines are. Look where the people are. People's houses would have been. They bulldozed. They knocked the houses down with the bucket, with the boom. Knock it down in the rain and have people in the mud like pigs. I watched and asked, how could members of parliament not be present here consistently showing that you're fighting for people? I have called for there to be a shutdown of this nation, not lockdown. You forcefully cause people to stay in houses, but shut it down. Don't do anything. Beg unions, please come. Stand for your people. I am not in any union. We asked you, stand at least. Come understand. 5 years have passed and Patrick Yard can't have one moment where he did that. But I stood because I hate injustice. I hate it. I cannot stand it. See our children having to walk on the highway with these crazy loggers and stone trucks by the hundreds every day, they up and down. And our children have Amrini said and others have to walk on the Suicide Canyon Highway. It's that death trap. And I said, how could you have to walk in the bush where snakes would be? In the grass. But the buses are taken from them by a caring government. And we should forget that. We should forget that Andyville has no water for 10 years. Not 2, 10 years. Big houses in there. No, not a drop of water coming from GWI because you should not have any. That's what we're dealing with in this country. And we should just accept that. A collation of forgetfulness. They came and they did so much to people. They said there's a cash grant for farmers, and persons who are farming all their life got not even a cent, and people who had nothing in the yard, not even a grass to grow, got millions of dollars because they claimed they lost. The PPP did that to y'all. Farming communities, when there was a flood, got nothing, many people. But friends began to have cash. importing chicken from Brazil, take it out of the box, repackage it, and sell it by the thousands of pounds, killing the poultry industry in this country. No problem. Having the Chinese come here by the hundreds. They have Guyanese, they claim have the quarry license, Chinese have the means to operate it. Your truckers gone from $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per ton down to $2,000 per ton to transport stone to nothing almost, because Chinese have everything. And then they say, well, you know, you're destroying our trucks, which makes sense. If you break the people's truck up, they have to drive it themselves. But just to show you, but come elections time, people have the nerve to tell you, not just to vote for them, but they are mad if you choose to vote somewhere else. And that is what has me troubled. So let's get to the curveball. In all of this, one situation has garnered great attention for me. One, Adriana Young. That 11-year-old girl be put in that pool changed my life forever. Because I saw as a 51-year-old man, for the first time, I wasn't born Rodney time, I'm talking now, for the first time, I saw, and Bonham didn't do that. I saw that even with video evidence, I saw someone call the president sit before me to tell me that what you saw is not what you ought to say. And if you say anything else, like Nurse King, you're a terrorist. I saw an 11-year-old child. I saw, unlike any other situation, agencies of the state being used to protect somebody or bodies who had something to do with the murder of a child in my country. And that right there said to me that if I do not stand with all that I have to speak up in my country, I deserve to be dead too. That's how serious I am about this. When I saw a police chase after Ronaldo Peters, drag him, put him in a vehicle, and then he winds up dead at the Linden Hospital complex, I said, if I don't stand up now, something is wrong with me. Then I saw a young man whose son I know, Keon Fajane, shot in the eye, laying on the gurney, dead, because a police officer raised a gun and shot him in his eye. And I said that in all of this, I also saw that for some strange reason, when they were saints of the Most High Yahweh, standing by Georgetown Hospital just on the day of the autopsy for Adriana, just saying they want to be there to support the family, to hear what happened, and just to lend support. They want justice for this girl. And out of nowhere, I got a call. Apostle, the police are just shooting at us. We were doing nothing. We were just standing here. They started shooting. And I said, this is most unusual because I know those things. Why would police start shooting at you for nothing? Then I understand that there has to be disturbance, because this is the day whereby there's going to be evidence now when you open this trial to show what happened. And disturbance was the best decoy. And I said that moment, in that second right there, that this country is gone. Because when you're going to use the police to cause disturbance, scatteration, as they call it, madness and mayhem. And on that night, 2 men, I think, were killed. I said, what else would it take for politicians in this country to act? And I thought it was as worse it could be. Then he finally brought this fellow from uh, Canada to say that if they were professional divers, they'd find Adriana in the pool. I said, this is the limit. Makoshan is a demon, he should go to jail. And I observed through all of this that certain voices, because Barrett said, you want to make it political, shut their mouths. And I said at that time, why would you allow Barrett Jagbio to control your narrative? What makes Barrett so important that when he says something, you shut up? Instead, you tell him, shut up. He makes you shut up. Then to think, then to think that we have leaders, as they call themselves in this country. Now, here is it. When we saw all of these atrocities and GECOM at play, I'm going back to GECOM commissioners, I'm going to end with them. I was of the view that I tell the curveball is coming now, all who are opposed to the wicked, treacherous, demonic clan called the PVP would say in a circle, we have to get rid of these people. They have to get out of there because at least we know that among us, and I could tell you that, all would never have sat there to say Adriana wasn't put in the pool. I could tell you one thing. I know I'm telling you. Aubrey would never do it. Nigel Hughes would certainly not do that. Well, you all know me. Because to me, Aiken and the whole clan would have been in handcuffs. So I'm the worst when it comes to that. Half of them would have been in jail by now. So I'm just saying with a nice set. But for me, all the hotel staff, the owner, the dog, the cockroach, the centipede, everything that had life in that hotel would have been in jail by now. Until you talk. Because if you want to put Nurse King in jail for being called some terrorist, and if you burn a tie, you're a terrorist, then all who had the hotel will go in jail until you decide to talk. So I know, please, I know what people label me to be. My head ain't too good. That's fine. Because when it comes to children, I told you that I become a different animal. Whoever want to play hopscotch when it comes to what happened, every last one will be in prison until you talk. But I know that Aubrey Norton would do that. I know that as I said again, Nigerians wouldn't do it. I know that. Darwin Best would not do that. So all the names you want to mention, in my view, they wouldn't do it. I saw Azuddin Mohammed being present on the scene, willing to assist, saying that why are children dying like that? So I'm saying that when I look here, hey, there are a group of people who wouldn't do this. But there's one who happened to be doing it. So in my view, I said, okay, given all that I'm dealing with in this country, why don't I speak to the people of this nation to say, listen, please, let us who are called leaders get together, form one massive coalition. Don't fight who's in charge, who's not in charge. Who's in charge would be the well-being of Guyana, Guyanese. One big group to get rid of these demons. It must be such a landslide that they don't have a chance to live in reference to the House Assembly. I thought that this was simple. Because I'm saying, although Aubrey didn't come to stand up for me, with me and beside me, although his followers, wherever they are in London, wherever you refuse to stand by me, no problem. We have got a case by I saw a child was murdered and put in the pool. That's what I saw in my view. That's my view of what I saw. You said the same thing. You saw that somebody could come here as an investigator, tell you that if you don't have a professional diver, you can't find a child, he's an idiot and he should be in jail. You heard Ali say doctors told him in a report that the child was never put back in the pool. She drowned there for 20 hours. You heard the insanity. Critics said the water was clear. So I'm saying that in my view, let all of us get together to get rid of these demons. I was horrified, petrified, stunned, dumbfounded, discombobulated, mix up, cook up, couldn't catch myself. When I found out that my dream of saying that probably it would work better for all of us if we get rid of these people. To this day, I cannot recover. I cannot catch myself when I realize that there are actually people who call leaders of this country, who want to be leaders, who don't care about whether people go back there if they're not in charge. You are reckless, to say the least, and I won't make too much noise. You are dangerous to this country's well-being. If you would tell me, and I'm making a decision tonight as a person, anybody in Guyana who tells me that they are prepared to have Barrett and Irfan, Anil, Priya go back there if they don't get to lead Guyana, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to see you. And this is from a personal place, not a political place. This is a personal place I have in my heart. You are a danger to this nation. If you would tell me, because I told you, and I said it somewhere, in Linden, when you drive in Georgetown, you see mud. Or you may see sand after protests, you go home. In Babis, you see nothing. Because nothing happens. The police are standing, watch out, fold their hand, and then you go home and so we finish. But in Linden, after protest, depending on its nature, I see blood on the road. Blood of my people, blood of my brothers, blood and bodies on the road, shells on the road. So don't come to me wrong because my experience is different from yours. So because I live this in Linden, if you cannot see the need to get rid of the most dangerous political group now in this country's history, you are a danger to me. Because you have personal ambition above national interest. And once you have personal ambition above national interest, you are a threat to me, to my future, to our children, to our nation. If you're patriotic, do the right thing. Do you love Guyana? If you love Guyana, then don't tell me about who's bad and who's good in reference to this here. We have got, I told you again, a clan of criminals, dangerous people, murderers. You have people who tell you in your face that a helicopter went down. And for years, the plane crashed in India. You saw what happened. A whole plane, not a chopper, exploded and they have the black box. Guyana's helicopter is so special you can't have the black box. You can't, and you just accept that. You just accept that two soldiers lived miraculously and they can't say a word to you today, and you accept that. You accept that you should be led by people. You should be led by people who could tell you that the only people who could build the Demerara Harbor Bridge, the new bridge, the Mackenzie Bridge, the East Coast Highway are China Railway Corporation. Nobody else, no American, nobody from Holland, nobody from Germany, nobody else is qualified, but only one company is qualified, and you could accept that. You could accept people telling you that in your country, you don't have the right to a quarry license or to sandpit licensing or anything in your own hometown. You don't have the right to do it, but Chinese come and get it. You are okay with that. Because if you're not, you do the right thing to say that I refuse to have Guyana sink like this. You see, for me, I could tell all of them because my hands are clean. I tell all of y'all where to get off and then tell you, let's do this together, because these demons over here are not people to play with. I can assure any Guyanese, any and every Guyanese, that Azli Mohammed cannot do what Barra Jagdeo did. There'd be no other president in this country who could try that foolishness. You hear me tell you? You hear me telling you all? I am telling you tonight, I don't care who is president in this country, you would never do what the people did to us again. Not a soul. Because it'll be a different game with me and you all.
But what I do know is that for the life of people in my country, the life of our children in this country, to know that my daughter could go to a pool, disappear, be kidnapped, and then 20 hours later or whatever, she's suddenly miraculously show up in this pool, and a president, not a police, not a crime chief, not a corporal, a president says that what you saw is not what you saw. She's been there all the time for 20 hours. If you could tell me that you prefer to have that go back there rather than all of us get together, you are a threat to my country. Because I did no harm to my people. There's none of y'all who could point your hand in my face and tell me I did wrong to anybody in this country. Not one of y'all. There is not one of you who could tell me that I abandoned anybody in this country, that I took any contract by suspicious means. None of y'all. You can't tell me I got any bridge to build, road to build, or anything like that by suspicious means. Not one of you. You can't tell me that Mohammed give me money, Bar give me money, PNC give me money. Not a soul. I'm thankful to Yahweh that you can't put your hand in my face. With that said, the least you could do is listen to me tonight. The least that you can do to me is listen to me. To understand that I love this nation so much that I'm prepared to tell Aubrey, you provoke my soul. You get me upset because you fail to represent people. However, let us do this together and get rid of these people. I'm prepared to tell Azadin Mohammed, listen to me. Although you are accused of so many things that Anil can't provide the evidence yet, but based on what you showed me, you sought to have an arrangement with the president, which should never happen. You should go to GRA, but you showed me what happened. At least you were honest enough to show that. I'm prepared to tell you, listen, let us do this together, because you can always negotiate how you'll repay or whatever you have to do. That's fine. But let's do this together. I'm prepared to tell Darwin Best, as you've shown, you saw us. And I applaud that young man and Francis and others, because you saw VPAC, you saw the people's movement, extend a hand to each other, representatives, not a fancy press conference. Let's do this together. That's what you do, because we understand that this is a crisis. I'm prepared to tell anybody, Simona Brooms, wherever you are, let us do this together. But when I can observe people taking an approach that says that if I don't have what I want, Guyana should die, you are not qualified to be my conversation. What I can say to you, and what I can see in my mind, is not green, not yellow, not blue or black. What I can see would be a sea of colors. Can you imagine having a rally like that, where everybody, where the party colors, as you call it, but we can all stand together? What greater sound can you have in this nation of unity than us wearing what we wore? All everybody, you choose your party colors, your symbol, you go there to represent, because we all one. That would drive terror in Barrett Jagiel's heart. But no, we have to have an agreement that says, if I am not the leader, then nothing happens. I have never once, and I dare anybody to tell you, I have never once said to anybody in any meeting that if I don't have this, I am not working with you. I have never said that. All I've said is that the people of Guyana, the people who support the people's movement, the people, even those who don't support the people movement, have said to me, listen, even PPP people have said, we need you in the House Assembly. We want you to serve. Some say you want to be president. I said you can say what you want. At the end of the day, it is a choice that's made by those who I believe in democracy before elections. Let people choose what they want. Let them choose what they want. What is it so hard to do? Can Norton say that? I dare you all now. Let's do a test. I've said it. Can Norton say? Can Azadin Mohammed say? Can Darwin Best say? Can Simona Broom say? Can Nigel Yu say? He said he would have said it. Who else we got? Whoever we have, Come to the table. Tell everybody in this country, listen, we will do what the people want. Can we do that? Do we have the mind to do that for this country? Huh? Oh, but you have a set of murderers on the other side, criminals on the other side, people who within 2 years have hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, houses all around the place. And you don't see the need to say, you know what? Let us drop the big I's and the small U's and just decide now, one big group, we will deal with these creatures. No, it becomes, which one would I be number 65? Would I be number 1? Where would I be? Let the people decide. Guyanese, I'm asking you tonight right here. Share this broadcast as widely as you want to share it. You make a list and post it on your book. You make a list and show us what you want. It's that simple for me. Because we have to get rid of these criminals. Do it. Now to the GECOM commissioners from the opposition. Since you've observed how discriminatory Claudette and those 3 commissioners have been in the things they're doing, and probably the CEO, dangerous people in reference to what I see you say they're doing. Here's what Guyanese don't know that I tell you all tonight. All that Alexander, Corbyn, and Trotman need to do, according to statute, is at the right time, which they know to be the right time. Once Claudette wants to play this game with us, and the 3 people want to play the game with us, and Ali want to play his heading good to say he could advise them apparently what to do based on what is out there. Let me tell you how simple this is. And I want you to pay most careful attention right here. Rapt attention right here. Maybe make a reel out of this if you can for me, please. Listen to me. All that the 3 of you know you need to do. Can you pass me a pen and a folder or something? A pen and some folder or something. Right, from the card there. Any one of those books. I want to demonstrate something to them. Let me show you how simple this is. And I'll show you how, if these 3 commissioners love Guyana so much, I'll tell you what they can do to save us right now tonight. Let me see who loves this country and know that people are criminals. I know these people are dangerous to us as a society. And know for sure that they have embezzled billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. 5 years. And conferences can't be finished in Linden. I need to show you something about how simple this is to deal with GECOM. Let me say who loves the country. I love it enough to tell her what I just said. It doesn't matter. Okay. Thank you. Let me show you all this. If these commissioners love Guyana so much, y'all be, listen. Okay, let me show you. You love Guyana so much, all that it takes people of Guyana. And I did Barra Jaglio, Anil Nandlal, or Binotno, or all of y'all to come and tell me different. When I tell you tonight, I have to say to you. All y'all need to do is at the right time, Vincent Alexander, Charles Corbyn, Trotman, take your pen and a paper. Write to Claudette Singh that you have tendered your resignation because of the untenable experiences, because you have observed that GECOM has become a PPP rigging machine before elections have started, and that you have begun to rig through disenfranchisement. Listen to me. You have disenfranchised Guyanese. You've started to show us that you're prepared to prevent prisoners from voting, prevent persons from accessing the claims and objection period in a manner that's timely and, of course, to their interest. And you're showing us, even references symbols, you're prepared to do the gods to affect the outcome of this election and infect us with the PP again, so we tender our resignation. Once the three of them do that at the right time, hear me carefully now, the law of Guyana is clear that GECOM, the 6 and the 7 commissioners, are responsible for conducting governing elections. So if you don't have the elections, the 3 commissioners, you have no election, none. And they can then, in writing, tell Claudette, what we therefore propose, before we leave you here today, because we won't resign yet, they haven't to the test, we would say that we give 6 months for there to be just a steering of GECOM, nothing else, no elections here, until every Guyanese and every party has the right to do what is right. You know what they will do to Claudette and Jagbio? Cripple them instantaneously. They will be finished, because here comes the US, here comes Canada, here comes Britain, here comes the European Union, here comes the Quiet CARICOM members to say, hey, stop it. No, 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 no. If commissioners could refuse to function in this environment, it means it's bad. So no elections, Barrett, get it right. It's that simple. But let me tell you what will happen. They'll be out of a job, and I don't know how much they earn, but it's not $2,000 a month. It's not $200,000 a month either. So maybe somebody has to consider, well, boy, if I leave here, I can't afford to lose almost $1 million a month. Do you love Guyana? Because I'm telling you right now, tonight, on this broadcast, how you, and please, y'all make a reel out of this part and share it for me, please. Let them know that I know what they could do. Let Aubrey know that I know what his commissioners could do right now. Shut GECOM down. That's what y'all could do. That's what y'all could do. And Anil could go to all the courts he wants, because he tried to do that. And hop and say, well, we can, there's no way to do it, because the law is clear. The law. Now watch this. With all the other parties together, let me see if you are prepared to stand for Guyana, because if they dare to say that they could force an election down your throat, then you all come out together and say, well, okay, we will bring hundreds. Let me see Mohammed bring all the 100,000 people to the road, because if you love Guyana so much, you'll come out too. You'll come out too. You'll come to the front and say that you stand together with all of us to demand that this thing be done right. Do you love us so much? Do you love Guyana that much? Because GECOM has, according to the law, the mandate to have 7 commissioners, because you have no quorum. And if you have no quorum, you can't have an election held in the country. It would cease immediately. Just like that, once the timing is right. So just before elections, you have the power to do this. That's written. You know that you could do it. You know that you can do it. Or do we have to deal with you all? Allowing this to go through, seeing that we disenfranchise, and let's have a press conference here and there, go on a talk show here and there, and then here comes September 1st, and all of us are just screwed over. Sorry for the language I have to say this way tonight. That's what you want? That's what you prefer? That's what you prefer? For us to go through this nonsense where GECOM, their side, because I call it the coalition of PVP and GECOM's PVP commissioners included. That's how I see it. Are you prepared for us to suffer like this when you know that you could stop it? Listen, man, if you resign, you can always be recommended or replaced or reinstated. We're just saying to you, you know what you could do to stop this foolishness. Force them. You have all of these attorneys in the PNC, in AFC, and you all can't approach a court yet to say the guy is being disenfranchised. Put my name on the list. Let me be the person who's complaining to the court that I have a problem. And I'm asking the court, put my name. I'm asking the court to deal with the fact that prisoners can't vote, those who were on remand. I'm asking the court to deal with the fact that this claims of objection foolishness is disenfranchising Guyanese. Why you can't do that? Put my name. Let me be the one who's complaining, the plaintiff. Put me as the person who's complaining to the court. But you all love Guyana so much you will not even file one motion before the court. Instead, what you want us to do is to go through this process, end up at what is called an election petition, and then we have to wait for 4 years. That's what you want. That's apparently what you prefer. Well, I've said what I have to say. I've said what I needed to say. Because there are 3 men in this country who could put a stop to GECOM right now but at the right time. And during that process, all of us could navigate all that we have to in terms of collation and ironing out things and the list and all that. We could do all of that. We could do all of that. But we could stop GECOM right now from doing this madness to us. Let me see if these three commissioners and Aubrey Norton love Guyana enough. Or do we have to say, well, I have to prove that I can be president. So let me go through with this. And when I lose, I say, they rig. Let me see what game you all will play. With that, I say thank you. I genuinely appreciate your time. Unfortunately, I couldn't see your comment because I didn't have my monitor before me. But maybe the trolls were here. I know they would have been because this is painful for them. This is too painful for the PPP trolls tonight. But I said to you again, I hope that you can listen to the voice and not see the attire. That's why I dress this way. You must hear people's voice. You must learn to listen with your ears and not your eyes. And probably you get the message that I am saying to Guyana that there should be one unanimous body saying that together we shall do this. It's that simple. It's that simple. Or you could hold yourself to say that if I don't get what I want, nothing happens. Let's see how that will play out. Thank you. Do well. And I love Guyana.